Different words describe different people. But in the eyes of the law, there's one that fits us all. Human right number 7. We're all equal before the law. What are human rights? Find out at youthforhumanrights.org.
I'm Sonya.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Ebong.
And today we're dishing with you from the new Pong Dim Sum, located at 900 7th Street Northwest.
And today our guest is Kwawu. She is the owner and CEO of the ABBA agency. You do PR and events here in Washington. And as we say on the District Dish, we love events. What makes your events so special? Why should we come to yours?
Because they're fabulous, quite frankly, if I can put it that way. But honest and truly, we focus on events and public relations and marketing that encompass popular culture, fashion, the celebrity world.
Is there like
all of them?
Is there a touch that we would know, like, oh, this is an ABBA event? Is there something that we would know? It's just the general fabulousness of it.
Fabulous.
So you have a client list that you work with, and I mean, I would say not every single time that Ted Gibson comes to town it's your event, but you work very closely with him, and so you have a client list kind of like that people kind of know that's an ABBA event because Mark Jenkins was there, who we had on the District Dish, by the way.
Yes.
We loved him too. So you do have a signature style to your events, and you always say we're going to bring DC something that they have never seen before. Well, how do you continue to do that?
That's a lot to work with. That's a lot
to say. I mean, that's a lot to do.
No, but honestly, we've been doing this in DC for about 8 years now, and as we all know, DC has really evolved from a more conservative type of place to become very cosmopolitan. So we are always looking to bring DC something fresh and something new, and because we work in Miami, we work in New York, Vegas, and other parts of the country where things seem to be a little bit more progressive in terms of trends, we look to bring that to our market and even build on it. And now that DC is such a focus with the Obama administration, there's just a renewed interest in culture and in fashion and in art and all of those things that we specialize in. So we look to partner with clients like Cirque du Soleil and Tyson's Galleria and several charities that we work with, the Washington Humane Society. We also do Fashion for Paws, and we look to bring that element of excitement and authenticity to our events. So that
because you always know an ABBA event, not only because of that, because of the uniqueness of it all. There's a luxurious component to all your events that even if they didn't know that you were in the background, I find out one way or another that you were a part of that. That's one thing to remember going forward.
Luxury.
Always luxury.
We work in the luxury market, and that's really what we do. And not in a way that's unattainable.
Well, and that's, I think, a lot of the times when you go to events, or especially with a lot of events within Washington, you're working with a group of people who want to put on an event, and there may be a younger group who don't necessarily know how to put on that fabulous luxe event. How do you explain where their money should go and what their event will end up looking like? Because you can't be like, oh, this looks like that event from 2 years ago that I went to at that place. How do you come up with all these new ideas?
We do not work in any kind of cookie cutter way because I'm an avid consumer. We travel. I look at what excites me, and then we look at the individual client and bring out their brand qualities and look at their goals and create something that's just about them. Because I don't want you to come there and sip the champagne and eat the food and say this is a great event and leave, but we want you to support that organization or that charity or come back and shop with that retail establishment that we're supporting. So everything that we do goes back to what is this client about, and that's why we're.
And you're focusing on the luxury angle of everything else. So this is not. You've only been doing this for about 8 years, so you've had an experience in luxury prior.
Only 8.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's very, very short
a decade yet.
So your past, but before the actual the ABBA agency, you were in the luxury space, a luxury market, or?
I actually studied this. Went to school for it.
You can study that.
You can study it.
You can study event planning.
You look like my parents. When I said, forget it. African parents. What do you mean? You're going to be
what?
You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer.
Engineer or a doctor.
That's it. You choose. And so I went into the medical field. That brought me back to DC. I was at Lombardi working cancer research, and I was miserable.
What a difference.
Because I always knew what I wanted to do, and honestly, one day I picked up a big fat September issue of Vogue, and there was a story about a gentleman from Chicago who was the creative mind behind Prada and Missoni, all these companies, and I packed up my bags and I moved to Europe. And I did a graduate degree in luxury marketing for design and fashion. So I have the academic background, and the tactical and practical background.
Well, let's do the pros and cons here for a second. Let's start with the cons so we can end on a good note.
Okay.
But what are some of the biggest challenges about doing this in DC? I mean, it could be venues, it could be people, it could be budgets. What are some of the biggest challenges? Budget's a huge one?
I would say when we were doing this 5 years ago, I don't know that the market was quite ready for some of the concepts. But now everyone is eating it up and looking for more and more. And we have to continue to challenge ourselves to be authentic and creative because there's a lot of competition in the market. You can no longer say we're the only agency that does this. And there's some really smart people that I love and support their businesses too. So remaining authentic and continuing to build on and learn each time is a challenge, which we embrace. Budgets, of course, this economy hasn't been that beautiful.
And in DC, it's always for a charity, and no one wants to spend money on the charity, so that's got to be hard. It's always charity, which is good.
We
love
appreciate
charity.
substance.
Yeah, but you have to be creative, though.
When you create,
Put resources in to get the kind of event that will bring in big donors.
Yes.
That's
this
sort of
is
like
it.
this.
As you guys know, you attended Modus Union at the Renaissance Mayflower, and that was something, again, it was for a charity, but if you bring something that people feel, I've got to get to that, I need to be there, they will buy their tickets. They will buy it. I mean, we're currently working on a Stevie Wonder benefit at the Kennedy Center. $500 tickets, again, but it's Stevie, and it's intimate, and you're up and close with an icon. People will spend money, so it's making sure you bring in kind of a mix of excitement and enthusiasm and something exclusive.
And make it worth that ticket price.
Yes.
Well, let's end on a good note. Favorite place to have an event in the city? Do you have one? Favorite place? There's just so many.
Or maybe the first one that comes to your mind when we say like the Rorschach test, like favorite place. What was the
First thing that comes
first
to
thing
mind?
that comes to mind? It's like your children choosing.
Totally put her on
Oh,
the
I
spot.
love House
I
of
love
Sweden.
the House of Sweden for the location.
That one's good too. Okay, we can't just stick with time.
There's so
It's like
many.
a Frito-Lay commercial. All right, we're gonna eat
Honestly,
the whole
because
bag.
we're always looking for venues with great acoustics that are big and wide open. And I visited the new Longview Gallery, which I like. But again, it's challenging because we don't have that many locations here, and you don't want to go someplace and people are like, it's overdone. How many times have I been to an event there? But some of these museums, you can create, a fantasy world, and we've done fashion shows, diamond shows at the museums, Museum of African Art, for instance, and so many people are like, I remember coming here on a field trip when I was 13, but we never knew you could do this here. So there's so much in this city, and if you're creative, you can really do something.
That is so true. And you do create a fantasy world for everyone, and you've created a little fantasy world for us here today. Thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
and for
for
sharing
having me.
everything wonderful about the city. And as always, thank you for joining us on this episode of The District Dish. Don't forget to check back next time when we'll speak with Adam Clampett.